It's super exciting for me today to be able to talk to Tobin Esperance, who's the bassist and songwriter from Papa Roach. How are you?
Doing good. I'm a little bit dirty. So I haven't taken a shower yet. And I'm a little bit tired and stressed out because that's just how it is sometimes, especially before a record comes out.
Ego Trip. It comes out on April 8th, right?
April 8th. You're like cramming all of this like press and all of these last minute shows and recordings and rehearsals and extra things. But I love that feeling because I feel like it's a challenge and it's like doing what you love, but like that hustle, like that when you just really got to get into the grind, like
unless you feel like super tired at the end of that kind of campaign, do you feel like you've done enough?
No, you really have to go to this feeling. You have to reach this point in order to really feel like you've done enough, you know?
To get like inspired to write Ego Trip, you guys, did you hire an apartment?
Yeah. We rented like this big ass like compound, kind of like a mansion, you know, whatever, but like it wasn't that fancy. It was just this big estate that had in the mountains that was really secluded. You know, we wanted to find like a place that we could just monk out, you know, just like the band and our producers and engineers to basically move in a studio with all the gear into a house. And it had a pool and, you know, lots of like, you know, tennis courts and stuff where we could just run around and just be ding dongs every day, you know, and have fun and make music like 75% of the time, you know, which is what we did.
I wonder how that affected your songwriting process, like being in that kind of location as opposed to like a studio.
It makes it so much more fun and relaxed because you're not like, there's not that like super anal, like office business, you know, oh my God, we're paying for all this time to rent this place out type shit. You know, it's like we make all the deals ourselves because we're our own label now. You know what I mean? We make all the deals with our friends because all of our friends are the producers and engineers that we handpick to do the records with. And we just say, hey, like, you know, we just work it out. And we're like, how much would it cost if we all just rent a fat house and we fucking partied for a month and also made a record at the same time? And it always works out.
Do you get any like nerves about how it's going to go down with fans?
Maybe when it's time for it to be released, because, you know, you have to prepare yourselves for all the stupid, you know, reviews and comments. We've been through this so many times. It's like, we don't really give a fuck. Like, honestly, at this point, it boils down to how we feel about it. You know, like how much fun did we have making it? Like how real and honest and true was it? Yeah. Not everyone's going to get it. Not everyone's going to fucking love it. We know that. Like, but while we were making it, we were feeling it. We were loving it. We were like on an adventure. You know what I mean? And so there's always that little bit of nervous energy that happens right around the release. And, but then it goes away.
As a songwriter myself, like if I go into a session, I kind of default to either like lyricist or top liner, all about like the lyrics and the vocal melody really. But how does that look for you guys? Do you have set roles? Do you feel like you fall into kind of set ways of working?
Yeah, we don't set up any boundaries. Like we don't have any rules as far as like, you know, who comes up with an idea or how that idea evolves into a song, you know, from like a demo state or whatever, you know, as far as like genres or classifications of, you know, like we could start a song on a piano, we could start a song on a guitar, drum beat, you know, we could have a friend come over who plays the sax and it's just like, yeah, cool. We're down for it. Like, we don't just stick to like, we got to be fucking metal and that's it, you know, like that's not us. We don't have fun I don't think we would have as much fun if we just did that all the time. So like I play guitar, like we just play hot potato with the guitar. Sometimes, you know, Jerry's tracking stuff. Sometimes I'm tracking stuff. Sometimes Anthony, my brother, who also plays with us live, is tracking stuff. Sometimes I'm programming beats. At the end of the day, it's just like whatever, like that, the best vibe that everyone is feeling in the room.
Are there ever any like major co-writing disagreements in that?
No, because, well, not now. I mean, it took a minute to figure out how to do it because before, like when we were making records with producers that like maybe we didn't really know, it was like, you know, the label would, back in the day, the label would come to you and be like, all right, so like we really think that you guys would work well with like a a blah, 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 or a so-and-so. And you're like, oh yeah, that guy who does all the fucking records, you know, some old dude who's like, it's like making a record with your dad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now it's like the past 5 years since we stopped listening to major label people kind of like trying to guide us to tell us what to do. We just said that, well, because we have so many friends and people that we know in the industry just from like hanging out and whatnot, like that are all producers and engineers. And so now we just say, hey, we're going to work with you. Let's all get in a room. And like the way we kind of look at it is like everybody in the room is a part of this song. You know what I mean? Because like you're working really hard to, you know, do whatever, like sound design or, you know, if you're programming the drums or whatever, like I feel like that's you're part of the creative process, you know? And if our, you know, one of our producer friends is like saying, hey, you know, like, what if you tried this, you know, blah, 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 blah. You're like, yeah, that's cool. Like we just go, all right, we were all there doing it. So let's all just split it equally.
I've heard Cut the Line, and that's awesome. Is that setting the tone, like from a songwriting perspective for the rest of the album? There's
definitely like a brother or a sister song to Cut the Line, but I wouldn't say the whole album sounds like Cut the Line.
Right. Yeah.
Like it's really, I mean, I'm just going to prepare everyone and be brutally honest. Like this is a very, very energetic record. It's like up all the time. It dips down in some really unexpected moments. And it takes you like to a real dynamic place, like a real super like emotional, vulnerable state on one song. But for the most part, the whole record is just, it's a banger record. But I wouldn't say that it's like all like straight up, you know, just rock shit. It's because we got fucking weird, you know what I mean? We love getting weird.
If you were going to give some advice to a songwriter who was like just starting out in a band format as well, what would it be?
There has to be a chemistry, you know, with all the different personalities. Well, sometimes there doesn't, because I know a lot of people that like, they hate each other, but they write amazing songs, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean, really just keep writing songs and just record them and just listen to them and you know, don't be afraid to like experiment. There's really no rules. It's so easy now. It's so easy. You could record like a legit like A+ sounding recording that can go straight to Spotify. So easy now.
Yeah.
Just don't be too hard on yourself. Really just trust the process. And if it feels good to you and you know, you relate to it, just go all the way in. Just go like 199% all into it. But it's always good to be a little objective too. It's always good to just be able to listen back and be like, oh, how can I make this? Like, what is my message? Like, what's the story I'm trying to tell? Like, how can I make this even have more dynamics or how can I make this story better? Like, how can we flip stuff up? It's like, it's fun to do that.
Yeah.
It takes a while to get it going, you know, like that's why everybody's first records are always like the classics. You know what I mean? Because you're kind of like, you're untouched. Like you haven't been abused and beaten up and you haven't gone through like all this shit. So it's like your whole life is just all in that first record, you know, all your experiences as a band, it just comes like pouring out in the first record. And then you're like, oh shit, like how do we continue to do this? How do we make this like a thing of longevity? Because I mean, it's crazy that we've been able to do it as long as we have.
It's amazing. It's an amazing achievement.
Yeah.
It's been amazing to speak to you, and thanks so much.
Thank you, Anna. Till next time, take care.